comments from the public during the time allowed for discussion. You are requested to approach the microphone, state your name for the record, and limit the time used to present your remarks in order that others may be given an opportunity to speak. The normal process on any agenda item is for the chairperson to read the item from the agenda. The board is given an opportunity to comment on the issue and/or place a motion on the floor. An opportunity for discussion may be presented, at which time the public may participate and a roll call vote will follow. Call the roll, please.
Thompson?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Solosik?
Yes.
Okay, we're all here. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we've had our roll call already. We're on to item. We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Solosik?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 5 on our agenda this morning, we've got a couple of new hires. First is Mariah Bacchus, Seasonal Temporary Conservation Board, $10 an hour with a start date of 5/14/2021 and an end date of 8/27/21. I'll entertain motions on this matter.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the hire of Mariah Bacchus, Seasonal Temporary Conservation Board, $10,000 an hour to start 5/14/2021. And end date is 8/27/2021.
And I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Discussion? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Solosik?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Item B under 5 is approval of Monica Carroll, Seasonal Temporary Conservation Board, $10 per hour with a start date of 5/14/2021 and an end date of 8/27/2021. I'll entertain motions on this item.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to approve the hire of Monica Carroll, Seasonal Temporary Conservation Board, $10 an hour, with a start date of 5/14/2021 and an end date of 8/27/2021.
And Mr. Chair, I'd second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Solosik?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Okay. Motion's carries. Item 6 on our agenda, Courthouse Interior Project. This is a discussion regarding the timeline, progress, and concerns with possible action. I'll entertain motions on this, just to get it on the table for discussion.
Well, Mr. Chair, I would move to approve a motion to get the discussion regarding timeline, progress, and concerns of the courthouse interior project on the table for discussion.
And I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Solosik?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Okay, we're on to item number 6. Let's get the discussion rolling. Lucas, I'm going to turn this over to you first. You've kind of put together a list of concerns and questions that you have. Why don't you go ahead and start us off?
All right. Yeah. So just a bit of a recap for everyone. The interior work on the courthouse started late December, early January. And we've made some progress. We've hit some hiccups along the way, but really I just wanted to bring everybody in the room together and discuss a few different items. So back in probably January, February, I requested First On Site to submit a pay app for our review when we do progress invoices. We got that 3 weeks ago, April 28th, I think it was, and to back up a little bit more, the original estimates that we received had some gaps in them. And with the involvement that I've had, I've pointed a few of these out, and most of them have not been a concern, with the caveat of, I don't know, 6-8 weeks ago, we did an essential purpose bond and borrowed an additional $1.6 million just to fill in some of the gaps if we needed it on the project. The problem with that is the day that we approved, and this is one of the main concerns we have. The day we approved that essential purpose bond, I figured out that one of the biggest costs on the interior project of this job, which is steel install and masonry, was not in our original bid. It was listed as a time material basis, but there was no plug number in our estimates at that point, and it was a major concern because we knew that could be a big problem, and it could be a big number for us, a big additional expense. So at that point, I reached out to Kevin and David both here and said, what are we going to do? And I was told, give me some time. We're going to straighten this out. Well, on the 28th, we received our first review of our pay app, G701 or G702 and a G703. And actually, I'm going to share my screen here. Hopefully, if I click on different stuff, is it going to change? Okay, good. All right. So in our spreadsheet here, and everybody in the room has this, so I am looking at the continuation sheet, the G703 for the interior owner portion. So we have 3 different sheets here, and we've broken this project up into 3 different buckets. We have an owner cost, which are the things that Marshall County has elected to do above and beyond insurance scope. We have a code portion, which is a separate bucket of money from our insurance company that we've already settled on. And then there is the storm portion, which is the insurance responsibility and the scope. So what I'm looking at now is the Marshall County's elected additional work to be done. So what we have here on the first page is the first couple pages, the original quotes that we have. But when we get down to the bottom is where we start running into some issues. So we originally did our structural steel just purchasing the structural steel. So then adding the work to install the structural steel, this is the number that we were talking about earlier. So when I said we had borrowed money to cover gaps, this $316,000, let's call it, just quick math here, is a big surprise to us. It was a big surprise when we found it out. It's still a concern for us as well. So I think, and there are some other things in here that everything here with an asterisk by it was not bid in the original sheet. I'm not good at writing. Was not bid in the original scope. So in my mind, this is what I'm going to mainly focus on. And when we first had the tornado event, Perfection came in and said, we can do it, we got this, we're great, we got it. Cool, awesome. It was a huge relief off of our shoulders. Everybody just went, great. We were deep into the project, we've done the exterior, everything's gone pretty smooth. We roll into the interior portion and we're like, hey, we can save months and months on this project by not sending it out for public bid and just say, we have a GC on site, we're just gonna roll them in to the interior project. And at that point, it was a wonderful decision. The problem with that is we got our original estimates and now we have an additional, I think these numbers here are like an additional
$458,286.41.
$458,000. The problem with that is if I would have public bid this and you guys were low bid and this is base bid, I'd say it's yours. We didn't public bid it, and I'm not saying Marshall County doesn't have a responsibility here, but I'm saying there is some blame to rest on the original estimate as well. So our question to you, I think, is, as we've talked a little bit here, is what can we do about, I mean, this is just the owner portion of it. We have a whole nother code portion that gets discussed as well. So the question to this end of the table is, what can we do? This is a ton of money.
It's a ton of money, and obviously, we did make a mistake with not getting a plug number in there for the labor portion of the metal and masonry. But that additional number also reflects additional damage found inside, not only what was left off. So yeah, we ordered the metal. We've had the masonry contractor, Cheeto, right?
Zero
Gloria, on a T&M basis. So he couldn't give a solid number. He gave an estimated, it was about what we think, and that was what was in our original numbers. Like, he couldn't give a solid bid. He gave a dollar amount for an hourly rate and has been billing us on a T&M basis. So it's not like we had a solid bid or could get one from him, and couldn't get one from him until he got deep enough into this project inside to give us a number. We made him convert because it's just been more and more and more and more. They've been finding more and more things as they open up the walls. And I didn't make excuses or, sorry we're at this point. We certainly don't want any hiccups in the job. Acknowledge any issues that we've caused and going to do everything we can to help resolve it. We're good people that care and appreciate the trust the county has in us, and don't want to lose that trust. So certainly want to finish this project, and we want to do everything we can to work together to work through this and get moving forward again and get back on track. But a lot of it was damage found. Not to discount that, yes, we did not have a plug number in there for labor. It was hard to dial that in at the time, and but we should have had some more of an allotment in there so you guys knew and everyone knew what was in there, and that was a boo-boo. And we had one or two things in here we missed. We missed a couple of things on this very large, complex project. Absolutely. However, there's additional work here and additional costs that are due to things that were found afterwards once this demo was done. I think, Lucas, I'm sure you're aware of that. And, the pockets.
I'm aware that there's been a lot more stuff that is found, and I understand that, but I think some of that stuff has been taken care of in the ASIs as well. So not to discount what you're saying, but a portion of that is taken care of in the other ASIs. So what I'm focusing on here is this is the work that it takes to get that job done, the original bid job done. So yeah, we found more, but it doesn't, say we increased it by 40 grand. You still missed it by 240.
Lucas, I absolutely agree that we had in the original reserve number, we did not have allocated enough dollars for labor install and what was involved with that. And that was a boo-boo on our part. It was messy.
The situation that we're going to be faced is this. Based on the information that we had, which was as good as we had at that moment, has now changed. We were in a litigious situation with the EMC on our code issues and how much was the responsibility of possible changes that we were doing and how much were actual code. Based on the information at hand, we settled with them. In that settlement, the line got drawn in the sand. Now we have brand new information that has come to us, but we've already settled with the EMC. How are you going to be able to help us with getting back to EMC to open that door up again, which is based on information that was not on our boo-boo, but yours? how are we gonna get past this?
I have the MC, you know, they know that we're having this meeting today to discuss this and go over it because we had to meet with you and get approval, and that's what took so long. So first we had, I think, 28 or something ASI since December that have come in that all had to be priced out. Some are owners, some are minor code, and some are insurance work, insurance related. So we had to go back and recap and come up with a new reserve. We had to change to lump sum figures on and get commitment from the masonry and whoever else we had on T&M, so we can have a solid number so there's no more surprises. Can't do that on T&M unless we get a not to exceed on T&M, if you couldn't get from the contractor. He said, you know, this a reserve, not to exceed, so we can have a solid number. So for us to come back to you and come back and split this up and go back to insurance and say, this is your portion, this is insurance portion, this is code portion, we had to reconcile everything and we say, this is our new total reserve, these are where we were, and this is what still needs to be completed and done, and this is what the total claim is on insurance. This is where Marshall County was on what we call owner responsibility. We're at 2.6, and then these additional ASIs and work and unanticipated work and some typos or some misses on our part. Okay. As far as code goes, I think you settled up, and not taking away that we've had boo-boos, like there's no doubt. We've had a couple here, and there's some big dollars. You guys settled up at 1.25 million, right? Wanted to quote $1 million on code. The code right now is at 1.344, your total code, right? However, one of the things that's just trying to give you an idea that you didn't know I settled for too little on code. You're actually right there for code, not, you know, to make it any better, but for instance, this flooring PCT issue, that's always been sitting in the code bucket for some reason, but that's really not a code item. It's not, you need to do this code upgrade to get your building back. It's really not code. It's not a code related item. So this 75,000 in there really is just building repairs.
Is that something we work with you about, or we got to run through the adjuster again?
It doesn't really matter because it's on the owner anyway. It's on the owner, and you can put it in whatever bucket you want. All I'm trying to point out is your total code outlay right now is 1.344. If you take away that 75, you're right about it. That 127. So you're about.
To back up on that is, I think you actually have a mistake here on this PCT form. Because if you look at the actual base bid in the G703, that exact same number's already in there, so you doubled it up. So that doesn't need to be an addition. And to back up,
That's
yeah,
right.
so there's 75 grand out of it, but and I've known that, but I caught that. The problem is yes, it is code. It has that material has to be there per code, and that's why it is in the code item. And we had a lot of discussions for many weeks about what goes in the code item. So yes, it is a code item.
It is a code item?
And
I
yes,
just didn't know it would be, but-
it is a code item, and that is something that it was in the original settlement amount. Yeah, so that number there is doubled up.
Is that the exact same number?
It is.
754,
Yep.
7438.
37.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
We'll get
Yeah,
that.
so that number is a mistake. The big one is the glazing for 120,000.
Yeah. That's
That's the big thing, and that's where the large mistake was made, because our original plug number was like $23,000, and from what I understand, this $120,000 quote was already in hand. It was just entered wrong. So
I think
it's, you know, and that's the part where we come to in accountability. Like we all try and be professionals here, and these are like not small clerical errors. Like $75,000 double up, not a small number. $120,000, just forgot to put in a spreadsheet. I mean, I know these spreadsheets are big, they're complicated, but these are big dollar numbers. Not everybody just has $120,000 laying around. And there has to be some accountability here. There just is, because did what we thought was doing everyone a favor and just saying, bid this project for us. But it's turning out not to be doing ourselves a favor. And that's where our problem is. We're so late in the game. Next week, our original schedule, next week, we should be moving the attorneys and James and everybody into our new
Schedule
offices.
impact, let's go cost impact.
Yeah,
We really
it's,
have.
it's huge. And to just have, oh, we made a mistake is just, sorry, in my opinion, kind of getting old.
Well, we just got here. It's not that old. This is something that's brand new. And yes, I apologize for making these boo-boos and being honest about it. And yes, and acknowledging them. How we're going to fix them, we have to figure that out and work together on that. And
That's where we're at right now.
totally open to talk about that.
And we appreciate you acknowledging the
Absolutely.
boo-boos and
Oh,
mistakes have been made.
Absolutely.
And it's too late. We need to get past that point, and how do we fix it?
Right, and it's still a very complex project inside, and it still does involve insurance-related work and so forth. And so it isn't one-sided; it's 3 buckets, and it all had to be broken down and divvied up, and really approvals is what's holding it up. But as far as how do we account for this mistake, and what are we willing to do about it? My first thought is, and one of the things that we could do to help out is on our end is offset our general conditions where we can to offset, that additional charge. So we won't charge a markup on any of the items that we made a boo-boo on. And if we could offset our general conditions to offset the overall impact. And I could take a hard look at that and see how much I could peel off of this thing to offset this boo-boo.
Okay.
I mean, that's fair and honest,
And that
willing to
is
do that.
that is fair and honest. You just made one other thing. I want to just take a small tangent. Approvals. Are any of these holdups coming from approvals from EMC?
We have a two-sided thing here. We do.
Okay.
We do. We've been stalled on phase 28. And it's not all insurance's fault. It's like the way they account for everything is in what's called a proof of loss statement. It's one long spreadsheet. Nan's probably the only one that could figure it out. I have a CFO that's pretty smart too. And
Has 6,000 line items.
yeah, it's involved, and it's not just our.
So are we
work,
back
it's
to
council
Nino
meeting.
here, not approving stuff?
Well, I'm not really, I don't, a couple of things happened. First of all, the ratio happened, which really threw a wrench in everybody in our industry, from contractors to cost to timing to everything. I'm not here to make excuses. I want to fix our issues, get approvals and move forward and get this done for you all. That's it. Phase 28, what was holding that up, and it took a while to figure it out, and I'll take responsibility for that as well, is understanding the way we turned in phase 28. We had we had new work, and that's kind of what really led us to a stall on getting approvals, is all this new work, getting it priced out and getting it approved on the interior, because we had a reserve with the MC. We had a reserve set with you guys for code and owner, and thought we're all good. We got in here, we found more interior work that, more masonry, the pockets and so forth, more steel work that needed to be done. We realized we had some boo-boos in here that we also needed to now resubmit for approval, because some of it goes to insurance is paying for quite a bit of this. And I've talked to them about it already. But then we have, where is it going with that? So we have,
It's 28, which was.
28. So 28 was the holdup. Thanks for getting me back on track there, Mr. Kevin. It was the way we submitted it for new work. He thought it was for
Appreciation.
recoverable depreciation.
Okay.
And we were going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on this.
Nino did?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Finally, we ripped out the new charges out of for new work. Just finally got an agreement that, well, David, just, the way you submitted it, the way we worded it was really what was holding it up all this time. We ripped it out of there. We just took it out as recoverable depreciation. He approved it immediately, and then but he wouldn't go on to phase 29 or 30 or 31 or 32 until he reconciled 28. So and then at the same time, we're trying to get the pricing on all these other ASIs and everything and divvy that up so we could resubmit. Well, he didn't want us to resubmit until we got an agreement with you folks on everything, and then submitted to him what was the new total reserve on the job and what the additional items were and what was left to be completed. So we had to do percent of completion. I don't know that you have all that. The EMC, we did print out EMC's new reserve, and we have copies for everybody, so we'll pass that. So kind of that's what we had to go through to get to the point that we could resubmit all this and find out where we were at. So was there a holdup? Yes, there was. There was a holdup in getting agreement on 28, so we can go on to 29 and 30, 31 at the same time, trying to reprice out all this new work, and which, quite frankly, guys, is still a moving target. We just got in 29, and there's going to be, and that's fine. In projects that happens, and that's fine. But there's still some outstanding ASIs that need to be priced out.
Dave, to circle around to your original question, there's two things that are really killing us on schedule, is figuring out how we move forward on steel so we can get the shoring, we've written change orders on all the TNMs, and we wired money to Sierra DeLorean. But the big issue is how do we move forward on steel and the associated masonry? So we get the shoring out of here so we can open up and get the other trades back in. The second is we just got on last Friday the ASI 25, which was hooking up to the emergency generator for the server room and the elevator. And up to that point, that took, I think, 3.5 weeks or 4 weeks, and it shut us down on advancing that area. Once we get understanding on those two, it opens my schedule back up.
Okay, so Ciro has been paid. He's wired the money and it's in his account, because it's 2 weeks today that he walked out of here.
Have we got the signed contract yet to them for the steel work or the change order on the February invoices for the 60K? I know the lien waiver was sent yesterday.
I have to look. I don't know. But I do know that the change order from the TM moving forward, that's what we need direction on, so I can get it issued to them so we can get the.
And you need direction from EMC?
From the group of decision makers, whoever that is, on the rest of the steel. And the steel install that we had went from a TNM to a lump sum to give us what is the total.
So combined, that would be us and EMC, both sides?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
To agree to that bid amount.
Yeah, because we don't want to do all this work without approval and everyone knowing it, because obviously.
So it's an ASI then?
No, it's just it's an approved amount to sign a contract.
Okay.
So.
Do we have that contract?
The way I understand it, no, we haven't seen.
Okay.
This is right here is all we've seen for bids on that.
Okay.
So that's news to me, because that's the first time I've heard that. And this is the first time I've seen these numbers. So if you needed anything from us prior to that, that hasn't been communicated. So is it now in EMC's
Also has to get from EMC.
Okay,
right?
so do they give approvals before us then?
No, you guys first we needed to get this straight with you today, and then I have Nino set up for this afternoon a call, and then a Zoom meeting on Monday, and told them
So
they have to
does
come out here.
EMC have these numbers ready for their approval on it?
Not until we get
this.
agreement here.
This is one of my
He wouldn't even
biggest
take it.
frustrations.
I'm sorry, Dave. He wouldn't even, until he had the phases updated, he didn't want anything. I said, we're at a standstill and we need approvals right now. So we're gonna hopefully get agreement and an understanding and can get moving forward with the county on Friday. And then we need to get approval from you, especially on the critical items that are holding up us moving forward, at least individually, even if you can't do the whole thing.
My frustration from day one on this project is all the approvals do not go through the Board of Supervisors. They go through Nino and EMC. They approve all the bids. You guys make the bids. We take the heat. It's like going down the tracks on a train and we're in one of the cars and the train comes off the tracks. We take the blame, but we're not the conductor nor the engineer. Things that are beyond our control are causing our project that we should have a beehive of activity going on here today, are literally dead in the water. And it's exceedingly frustrating to us.
Absolutely, us too.
And I understand your frustration also.
What were you wanting to say, Kevin?
But how do we get EMC and you guys together and get this project sped up and past the speed bump that we're currently on?
We're gonna resolve it hopefully today and get some answers from you guys. I mean, it took a little bit to really compile this and get it right. And there was still a little boo-boo that Lucas found, and to get it into you and then get it into insurance.
The one thing I'd like to say or ask is we sent in a proposed change order for ASI number 4 to Lucas. That was on Thursday, 3 weeks ago. And to see, is this the format that you wanted in? Because I'd really like to get approval on the format before I generate 40-some change orders ×2, because we have storm or owner and code.
I don't think I've seen that.
That was the original email you sent just to Lucas.
Yeah,
That he
the only
told.
thing I've gotten from you for approval is this G702 and 3.
No, I did send it, I'm resend it again, but I really need, is this the format you want to see a change order in? Because you did say whenever I sent the first one, send me the change orders.
I will get you the format I want, because
Okay.
If we don't have a process yet.
to back up a little bit here, I think we're getting away from one of my goals out of this, and we've talked about this a little bit, is currently we don't have a contract in place with you, like a good binding contract, like an AIA contract. And I honestly think that's something that Marshall County needs.
We would like it also, quite
yeah,
frankly.
there are
We've been going on a lot of trust and faith in
Yeah.
together, and you're good people, we're good people.
Exactly. So we're very far into this project, and with the accountability issues that I feel we have, I think we need something with some definite language in it to say, these are your responsibilities, these are our responsibilities. And I think that's something that will help everything. So to say that, we can get approvals and things out of this meeting, let's back that up a little bit, because I think we need to protect our interests. And having a solid contract in place is what's going to make at least me feel much more comfortable.
What is your relationship with EMC? How do you work kind of for them, or
No.
you work for us?
We work, you're my boss.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm feeling pretty puffy.
Absolutely. You're the boss. They just pay the bill, and we have to coordinate and get approval from them on their side of that end of
Okay,
it.
just getting approvals.
That's it. Yeah. We're a preferred vendor because we do a lot of work for them.
All
But we
right.
do a lot of work for most insurance companies all over the country.
Okay. Yes, that question.
We're in a preferred position with most of them.
I would like to see us get a contract in place. I want to get, before that, I want to see a schedule. I want to put a schedule in the contract. Let's talk about the schedule for a minute, because the one we got yesterday kind of made my skin crawl. This is the original schedule we got for what we have called phase 1. And phase 1 is the east half of first floor and all of second floor. It's a 10-week schedule with us moving in next Monday, right? So we are, let's say we've lost the last 2 weeks, 0 work. And let's say we've lost 2 weeks prior to that just from, oh, hey, we found this, we found that, we found this, we found that. So we take this and say, we're 6 weeks into this schedule. And now I get another schedule with an additional 18 weeks. That's mid-September. And I have been very careful through this entire project not to give definitive dates to people. And this is out there. This is in a public meeting. Everybody on this meeting sees that 18 weeks from the 24th.
No. It's 18 weeks
From
from
start.
when we get released on.
Yeah, and we're assuming it's May 24th with this schedule.
Okay. Well, there's
I don't
18
know.
weeks of work.
Well, it
So
sounds
the-
like now we need to get a contract in place.
Yes. Okay, so 18 weeks from when work starts. So
Right.
work stopped right now.
Right.
Work starts in however many
Right.
weeks. We have an additional 18 weeks on top of the 6 that we've already had. How did we miss a schedule by
Well, since that
24
time,
weeks?
we've got close to 40 potential change orders that are out there.
Yep.
We have design changes that are coming in daily. The approval process is much slower than what we anticipated. We have unforeseen conditions that we're running into. We've reamped our schedule to we found that due to the shoring, we had to get into the attorney space in order to support work on the second floor, which is in phase 1. The schedule is just completely blown up from what we know now, from what we knew in March. This is my best forecast on getting it complete once we get approval and we get started again.
Okay, we're back to that approval word again.
Mhm.
How on earth do we speed up this approval process? Guys, it's almost like we're held hostage on this. And that is driving everybody around this
We
table
certainly don't want that.
literally insane.
I'm a builder. I want to be building. I don't want to be
Yeah.
sitting here on a beautiful day when we fought winter conditions
Yep.
to put work in place. Now I have beautiful day. The only thing I can really advance is the exterior. My
So-
inside is just the doors. being
Our
worked
approval, yeah, exactly. Our approval is coming from EMC.
Well, from both of you, from
Okay.
EMC and you, now we're saying this is where we're at. We've kind of got caught up with the ASIs as much as we could and separated out the additional work that was found, any boo-boos that were found. We're resubmitting to you that this is where we're at. We're resubmitting to the insurance company, this is where we're at. We need approval from the insurance company and approval from you guys to move forward on all the open pending change orders and ASIs.
Is there anything we can, anything that the county can do to expedite the approvals on our end, or nothing we can do? Do you have any suggestions or?
It's all dollars. If you're okay with what we have here, we're willing, the things that we made a boo-boo on, I don't want to charge a markup on, and then right away, I know I could authorize that. I'm part of where I was the owner when we first started this job. I'm part of a very large company now, but I'm a part owner in that company as well. First on site, so we're, very large company.
And markup could be as much as
$80,000.
20% or 12%. 12%.
It's $80,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
$669,000 is what the mistake
So
was.
basically, we'll say that,
Okay,
so that, I feel is,
so that's something.
And the general conditions is a huge chunk. We originally anticipated in September that we would complete in 8 months. Because of delays, I don't think we're gonna get done with phase 2 until the end of the year now.
and it's all depending on everything.
We've got 4 additional months of general conditions, and what David said is, I will waive that for the county. That is a very large number. What would help me is if we could go through every one of there's no question, I don't think, maybe we have a clerical error, but the above the line getting what I should have did is submitted that without any changes at all.
Right, that's what we should have done, because then you would have, yep, we've already agreed to all this, go.
Right.
But instead, we kept getting these ASIs and everything, trying to catch up with that, and then get it all into you and get it submitted to insurance. But with the 2.6 million, that original amount, that's all been agreed to.
What
So
would help
we should have approval on that right now.
help me is to go through with the board on all the additional change orders, the ASIs, the budget mistakes, and then the other items that are not ASIs and not budget mistakes. Let's get an agreement on, yes, we want to move forward with that, or no, we don't. If we don't, then let's get it off the table. I'll submit a change order in the format that Lucas wants for everyone. You can sign it or not sign it. We'll do the same thing, get with the EMC. But I can't cut loose change orders to subs unless I've got the authorization to do that.
That's really all we need.
I will, there's an AIA change form that once we get, we'll just use that.
Oh, perfect.
You know,
That
once
one's
we get-
nice.
Yeah, once we get the contract in place, and yeah, I'll need that form and all the backup information into that. Essentially, all of the ASIs are either necessary for construction or initiated by the owner staff.
Right.
So they're
So
either
they're-
necessary or they're already approved, but having that approved form is something that we're going to need on the back end. So yeah, just the AIA change form.
You can work on that, we'll work on it. Let's not come to a complete stop until we get this contract. Let's get this contract in place right away for one thing. Let's get Zero out here with Cheeto.
His name's business name. That's
To get his scaffolding down and get all his supports out of here, because that's really, and then the generator thing. Those are two things that would really push us forward, because we could finish up with framing right away. We can get going on the wiring.
I have about 8 ASIs that we're getting pricing in now. I can get the majority of those into the board and Lucas next week. There'll be 2 or 3 that'll probably take until the following week. But that should capture every ASI that I know of, so that you guys know where your checkbook's at. I'll
Okay.
also rework the pay application to take out the overhead and profit on the budget bus, as well as the extended general conditions, and see where that's at.
We also feel like, and with Nino as well, that we need to have more consistent meetings to go over everything together and to get this project completed and make sure we're all on track and in sync and nothing's holding up anything.
See, to do that, we have, if we're gonna be involved, then we have to have a public meeting. You know, and I don't think the public meeting is a problem this morning for you, is it?
No.
And otherwise, all we have is one supervisor.
Right.
And then I feel at loss at times. Because if you don't actually hear it, you may not understand it.
The synopsis is not always the same.
No,
No,
you need the tone of the room.
right. And, I'm happy to do a walkthrough and discuss things, walk through the whole job after together as a group and talk about it as well. And Lucas has done a phenomenal job, on all of this. When we got to the interior, we had some issues here.
Do you think we've are we deep enough into this project now that we know we shouldn't have any major?
I think so. Are there any other, I know we got a 29 yesterday. Is there anything else that you see coming down the pike on ASIs?
There's small one for signage.
We've already got a placeholder for it.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have additional
Owner responsibility signs.
Office signage, not just the code required
Right.
stuff.
We've held a placeholder for it.
Additional wayfinding, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's number 19 or 20.
Lucas, these big ticket items that we are not going to try to mark upon because we missed them.
Mhm.
Can the county pay that direct? so it doesn't run through Michael.
Yeah, because I'm getting we get the insurance money, so I've got that. Yeah, I can pay
Right.
those direct.
Okay, great. That would
Because,
help.
because I know as a contractor that works for government entities, you agree not to make that deal.
Exactly.
You have to do GSA pricing.
Exactly. Thank you, Nan. That's exactly.
So yes, that's not a big deal.
And we're a publicly traded company, by the way, so, you know.
Number
we're here to start getting
number
documents.
19, that return air in the rotunda.
That would be the
19
only
is special
unknown,
instructions.
and that we're still waiting on. We don't have that from Bluestone.
Yeah,
Still
and the
today.
ASI number.
Oh,
19.
ASI.
We're still waiting on things. So from our standpoint, there still are things
I
there
don't know
that
what all is involved
You know.
with that.
we still don't know.
Maybe some grates on doors.
Okay, that's not bad.
Oh,
Okay,
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
that's great. Oh,
Okay.
Yeah,
we
it's
thought it was all
all
make up air system.
No,
No,
no.
no, it's how do we get air out of an office back into the rotunda so
That's
that's get
not a
into our
scheduled
area.
killer.
No, that's a little,
Okay.
that's a little.
So I think we're going in the right direction with how to proceed overall project. Contract in place, approvals on everybody's, from us and EMC. Are you guys under that same mind frame?
I think so. I still have some concerns I want to go over.
Agreed?
Right, that's
Yeah,
different.
I'm trying to get that out of the way so we can get to that.
Yep.
So are we happy with, let's get a contract in place and let's, you
And
know, have
specifically
have everybody's
with Cyril.
rights and responsibilities?
With
Yes.
Cyril Cheeto.
Yeah.
We need his
My understanding.
butt back
from
in the
him is
seat and on the
that
job,
is-
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
the fly in the ointment
You know,
right now.
My understanding from him is that he is hesitant to return to work until he has his subcontract in place.
That's all. The
Because
money
that's
went
the-
after that.
That, yeah, so that's, you know, that's just typical
Okay.
of any subcontractor. They're
How
not going to
fast
work
can we
until there's
get
a
that
contract in place.
subcontract in place with him to get his feet
What,
back in our
Take
We want
building?
the same thing. Absolutely.
Probably 3 hours.
Perfect.
But I need the authorization to advance that. I need it because I'm over budget. I need the blessing that I can.
well,
do.
that's the thing. Do you just need that from us or do you need it from EMC as well? Because our portion of that is
Right.
230,000. EMC's portion is 196,000. I mean,
Mhm.
we could say we're okay with our portion of it, but we can't say, go ahead, EMC.
Now, our portion that was I thought we were just discussing that was an error that should have been caught earlier, that we were gonna take back.
12% off,
Yeah,
but still,
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's still a big number and we still need the EMC.
You know, I feel we're doing the right thing, taking responsibility there. Basically, a lot, at no charge. But if you look at EMC's reserve sheet, we were reserved that, you know, we did have an agreement and now that's increased. So we do have to get agreement from them. And when it comes to this deal, I don't think we have to, well, first of all, I think by Monday, Tuesday, we'll have something from them because first of all, total transparency, very honest, again, good people. We absolutely don't want to let anybody down and we're very frustrated, upset, and disappointed that this has all occurred. And we apologize for any mishaps just to get on the table there. You know, we certainly do take responsibility and did make a few boo-boos here. Definitely large, very complex claim, but still no excuse. No excuse, and we want to do the right thing to make that up. I don't think we have to stop Cheeto. I mean, we get him to change orders today. Let's get him in there, getting this down while I'm getting
Yeah, that comes
approval.
off
I don't think that has to
off of that.
stop.
I think if you guys are willing to get him a contract and sign something to guarantee it,
Oh, yeah.
you've got, I think you will get the approval in this room.
yep.
You know, the remaining EMC part, we're under 200,000. I know you can float that till you get it.
Exactly, exactly. And I've told Nino about it. I told him, you know, the things that are running over. Data was a big thing that we didn't have dialed in. I think we had 50,000 allowed and ended up being 250. It's all going to insurance. But the first ROM on that, the plug number was, you know, much, much less. So, but if there's good reason and it's honest and you can back it up, then there should be no issue.
Okay. So what I'm hearing here is you're going to remove your markup,
On the
And-
items that we made a boo-boo on.
and any of the items that you did make a boo-boo on that we've already settled with the MC, you're going to take those costs out of your general conditions. So you're going
We're
to
gonna
accept
take a-
responsibility for those errors also.
We're gonna take our markup off of the items that we made a mistake on.
And which is
That's
12%.
Which
Yes.
is-
12%. And what else was there?
General conditions, additional general conditions of 4 months be removed from the county.
4 months, okay. And where's that number at?
At the very bottom,
I'm
what the
getting it.
information was sent.
It's on the owner sheet.
Just the
It
supervision.
is-
We can't do all the hard costs, but the supervision part.
And
Just the
is,
supervision.
and is that dollar amount
So
going to make up for the flooring, the file terrazos, the
No.
doors and the safety glass?
No.
No, it's not.
Okay,
What's that dollar amount?
because that's,
I'll move your
Because it's just
cursor,
that 104,
Move your cursor a
96,
little.
or 967. What do you need?
just move your cursor slightly,
Why?
because
Yeah,
she
so
wants
the
the whole
dollar.
number, 197,
Gotcha.
952.
Yeah, that's a combined. There's a detail on the reserved. Maybe you want to pull up the analysis sheet, Lucas, instead of this that we sent you. This
Oh,
one
that
page.
analysis, yeah.
This is a much better sheet to kind of look at everything, because this gives a real summary.
Mhm.
It also gives an explanation. So let's get on the same page with that. And then we have the same thing for insurance. So we have one for you, that's on our code.
It's
we have
this
that's
one page.
insurance. And that's a much better summary than looking at that whole AIA.
It's gonna be hard for everybody watching at home to read, but.
And basically, we have the markup on the structural steel and the glazing, and masonry, basically those items that we made a boo-boo. Now, one issue was a carpentry issue that Micon, they pulled their bid because they're just too busy. And the next closest bid was more money that we could get, so that's not our fault. We had some price changes in some things, that's not our fault. When we left something off, we'll take responsibility for that.
so if we go back to EMC and reopen these code issues, you're gonna be standing right next to us.
Absolutely.
Okay,
We have 74,000, well, was it $94,000 difference there
okay.
from what they paid you to what it is now. And some of those items are new items that have come up. Right, there's some new additional code items.
Glass.
So is that listed on your little one-page summary here anywhere? I always like to study spreadsheets, so I apologize.
36,000 in AV design integration door access. 90,000 in ASI number 12. 3,000 in the ASI number 14. Reroute ductwork, 3,000.
So that's all additional code items that we didn't know about.
Right, but it's not that
Yeah, on
additional.
Little sheet,
The
it's within
code
these
that,
ASIs, the codes.
the code that we're paying for is in those ASIs, and then the numbers that we're finding now are the updated numbers. Okay,
That makes sense.
yes. Now I got to time to the big spreadsheets. Can you email us a spreadsheet too? The one pager?
Like you should
This
have.
is the.
Yeah.
This is the two beams.
Oh, was that in that, oh, list? Okay,
I sent it to you, man. as well.
okay.
That's a cheater, isn't it?
I don't know if you have the insurance one, we gave you a hard copy.
Oh, there's a bunch of stuff in there.
We need, there's an item on,
Is this what we went through and we said that's code, that's code?
If it's not covered, then it's gonna be covered. That's what would
and being for splice connections
Because we have different paths supporting the
for the
area.
area.
Like, you know, and that's,
Yeah,
I think that's a logic.
so yeah, I get that. Beam plate detail. That's probably just something that's in there.
But if that 75 is double,
Something
you're
that's in
really
there.
right there with code. I don't know,
That's a help.
you know.
I think all the money is.
Yeah, actually, that is a good,
$20,000, really, you're right there with, I don't think you're upside down in code, but $24,000.
I think,
It's not
I
bad.
think.
I know there's an attorney sitting here, so I don't like to speak ill of them, but reopening something that they could make look even uglier than it already is, if it's just a little bit of money. You know, when you get that uneasy feeling in your stomach?
I've been
I
there.
generally go back to Shakespeare whenever I talk about attorneys, and you don't want to know what he
I
said.
know, and again, my daughter's one too, so it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we get approvals from you for all the pending change orders, we'll next get approval from EMC for all the change orders. We're full speed ahead. We'll get a contract in place, which we appreciate as well.
And whose responsibility is that going to be to get a contract with?
Through us, and then we'll work with Jordan, forward it to all of you. You'll all be included in-
Would typically draft up a, they'd have. something
OPN would.
they
Yes.
would help with that.
Okay.
Yeah, we will have them look at it too, and
Yeah.
And then your form, if you could get me the form for change orders, there's no reason why I can't at least get started.
Yep.
Getting some of that paperwork ready for.
Yep.
Distribution.
And quite frankly, we're working with not getting any money or anything else either. So we're in the same place. We need to get things going. We're doing our very best to do everything in good faith and push this forward. And believe me, we've been working very hard to get a grip on this so we can get it to you and get approvals and stop this moving target so we can move forward. This thing with Cheeto, I think that's first of all, I don't know if he loved the fact that we went from a T&M to a lump sum, a committed price, because all of a sudden he's not very happy. But we can't just have a free checkbook out there working.
I think he just wants a contract in place.
yeah.
Yeah, so if we get a contract in place, we just should be
Yeah.
fine.
He's just not gonna work without a contract, which is, I mean, understandable, but no sub's gonna do that, so.
We've had a work authorization,
Yeah.
but we haven't, we now that we know the numbers for sure, we can certainly put together a contract.
Yeah, very good. All right, so now that we've talked about what we're gonna do to advance the project, I have a few other items I'd like to discuss on how we can do things better. How what I see as first on-site responsibilities that I think could be done better. Number one, and I'm just going to work off my G703 here and kind of just stay in the general condition stuff. There's $51,000 for overall cleaning of the site in here and $10,335 billed so far. I don't see it. The place is a mess. The building's a mess. The yard's a mess. Everything's a mess. There's, up until 2 weeks ago, the temp agency that sent cleaners, whatever, that 51 grand for material handling and cleaning is a big pill for me to swallow. I mean, up until everybody knew you were coming, David, this site was a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
That's 100% honest here. This hallway here yesterday had water leaking in it. The rain board was a mess. We have found bottles of bodily fluids.
Garbage cans
All over
of
the
bodily
place.
fluids.
Like this, my opinion, this 51 grand for cleaning needs to be revised, especially the 10 grand.
I think we should look at that as an allowance and see what's utilized of it. Think about what the final clean is going to be in the ongoing cleaning of this building. So really your final clean, once construction is actually completed here,
I think
Okay,
we
there's
have a
gonna be
line for
a-
that as well.
there's
though.
gonna be a partial clean for
There's
phase
another
one, and
one.
then there's gonna be another clean, there's ongoing cleaning. I don't think the dollar figure is that, but we'll do it on a T&M and track it and only charge for what's done. Gladly. It's just a
I
blood
want to
number.
echo what Lucas said. There's nothing more disgusting than a dirty job site.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I put my foot down. I said, these temps that we have are not doing it. We fired them, then we brought in new people.
We got fired because they cut
That's manageable.
because they cut a fiber line, 2 fiber lines.
Also, my time has been split among other derecho projects. And in the next 2 weeks, I'll be here full time again. I've been.
I think the project management will change with Kevin here full.
That's another one of the things I wanted to
Probably you
address.
guys. Me too.
And I will echo that. It would be nice to have that. I made a little
Absolutely.
organizational change chart that I want to see up and around. Kevin's your contact, Rodney's number 2, John and Roderick. Like, this stuff needs posting. People come to me and they're like, "Where's Rodney?" I don't know.
Yeah, I get it a lot.
I don't know. Here's his phone number. I also want to say that
That's fine.
this is not a first on-site office. If you are in this building, let's work on this job. It's not, we're not working on Scranton, we're not working on DMAC, we're working on Marshall County. Because I don't, like, I'm not saying it's happened, but I don't want to be billed for 8 hours of work and there was 3 hours of work done for a different job just because somebody was in the seat here. That's not something that's, I'm not saying it's happened, but I want to say it and I want to say it now.
Lucas, just to address that, first of all, I can understand how you would feel like that might be happening. I want you to know it absolutely is not happening.
I know it's happening. I mean, I can walk in and hear a conversation about.
Well, they might be, but we're not charging,
Well, yeah, exactly. I understand that. But this project is behind enough mistakes have been made that focus needs to be 100% on this job.
Agreed, no problem.
I will tell you that my time has started being billed to this job as of last week, starting on Monday. From January till then, I haven't billed any time to this job.
But we still want to have the presence here just to be
Yeah, I
safe.
got,
So,
I got.
You know, so at the same time, because we,
And
obviously.
that's why I asked for, I want to see an organizational chart because, I mean, lack of a better term, I need to know what throat to choke.
Mhm.
If something's bad, who do I go to?
Yeah.
Who takes care of it? But
Love you, man.
but that's what
I'm the
I,
alternate, the buck stops with me, guys.
yes, I
You know
mean,
me, 24/7, you could always.
it rolls uphill in our world. The buck stops at the top.
Yeah.
And that's
Mhm.
100% true. Anything that has done wrong from my end of it, that is my responsibility, and I take that responsibility. So it's just, coming back through here, there were a
Lucas,
couple.
if I may, I said that in jest with Kevin.
Oh,
because
yeah.
Please, and you know,
Oh,
me, anything you've needed, Dan and
If I need
I'm as
something, I call
responsive,
you.
you know that.
We've reached out to you. We reached out to you in December when we were concerned about not enough leadership here.
Yep,
And, John and Roderick showed up and I think that's been a good change. John, I think, has helped.
John's really good.
He's done a nice job.
I'll be
He
honest
works
with you,
well
he
with the
saved this job
architect.
in the last 2 months.
He saved
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
really. And he works really well with the architects and they talk the same language,
Yeah,
for
he's really good.
lack of a better
And
word.
we may, as we feel is necessary, with your permission, also make some other adjustments that we feel are necessary to run the job more smoothly, including maybe moving John up. And we also have a very good project manager that's coming off the job that we may allocate to this one if it's needed. Nick Birch, who's been running a very large project with me.
I don't think we need more people, we just need to focus.
Yeah, that's,
So the next thing I have here on my line that I want to hit is and this is something that I've missed. this duct and air handler cleaning, I don't know why that's being charged to Marshall County. It's under the owner. I mean, we didn't cause any of the dust or debris that's in this building that we're cleaning up.
Is it a
As a result
percentage?
of
It's a
construction.
percentage, no, it was there last year, it's a
Yeah.
percentage.
It's a percentage split, but I'll be honest with you, I don't think that's our responsibility. We
Well,
didn't create any.
there's also construction going on that is, there's $3 million
That's what
worth of work of the owner.
Yeah, it's your side of the building.
And it was a split based upon percentage that was reviewed and agreed to.
But if we wouldn't have done any owner stuff,
Then none of it should have been yours.
right, but you just still cleaned all the ductwork throughout the entire building, because we all know, we can see on this table what happens in the non-construction side.
Okay.
It's maybe something that shouldn't be ours.
Let's think about that.
Think on that one.
Okay,
Well,
Along-
I have no
along the lines
problem
of-
If you, and that's why we needed that, sorry.
Yep.
That's why we needed to have this meeting. Because I'm the insurance expert in the family here and how to, but everything has to be legitimate, it has to be warranted, it has to be explained and validated. I think you have a really good point with the duct cleaning, that the whole place would have needed duct cleaning from this level of construction. So,
And
so.
the place is much more of a mess than it should be too.
Yes, but either way, fine dust, even from just all this demo, is gonna get in everywhere, no matter how we contain it off. So I kind of agree, and Kevin, why don't we go ahead and move that off of Marshall County and put the full amount on the insurance side. And I have to present this to insurance, and they have to agree with it. All I can do is present it and validate it the best I can, and then.
along the lines with the construction debris and the cleaning, both Lucas, Nan, and James have brought tremendous concerns on possible damage that may have occurred with our election equipment.
Server room.
Massive possible damage in our server room that is going to be a ridiculous amount. How are we going to get around this? That is
concerns there.
Damage from
Lucas has
construction,
explained to
damage
me
from
that the
what?
server room was because of construction that occurred above and then
James
debris
explained it
fell
as well,
down.
yeah.
Am I relaying that properly?
You're supposed to talk.
Okay, without all the expletives, give me the version.
No expletives. Now it's just not fair. Okay, so we've had a
Short
problem.
conversation without the expletive.
Yeah.
That's right. I don't know how to do that. Since the beginning of the heavy demolition, we've had a problem in the server room. Now, you guys have known since the tornado that we couldn't pull the servers out. That's why IT remained in this building, is because the way it was wired up over the last 20, 30 years, there was no way for us to effectively pull out the servers and the fiber optics and move to an alternate location. So our stance from the jump was we need to maintain the server room as a clean operational environment. When the heavy demolition, which I'm going to classify that as the jackhammering of the concrete floor above the server room, happened, they were also doing asbestos mitigation in the main IT suites. We weren't able to go in and really check on it much. When we went in, we found that when they pulled the ducts out to the floor above us and jackhammered out that floor, massive amounts of sand, dust, and debris dumped down into that server room. Shortly thereafter, the primary servers and the storage array started causing a lot of problems and failures that were then rippling out to the employees. And we were getting a lot of complaints about speed issues, reliability issues. And we have tried to not replace anything in the server room until construction was completed. That was our goal because we knew there was a risk. But we were forced to replace probably $130,000, $150,000 worth of materials after that jackhammering was done. They were items that were already flagged for tornado replacement because of the level of exposure, but the demolition above pushed them over the edge. I mean, they just couldn't survive to the end of construction. And at that time, we really sat down and Kevin came in and looked at it and brought a team in to clean the room, not the equipment, but just the room itself. And we talked about the importance of that room maintaining integrity. We have to keep that room clean, powered, and closed for the air conditioning, for the safety, for the federal guidance that we have to have. And we've just had continual problems ever since. The doors constantly left open by contractors. We finally went down and closed the door and put a sign on it, and even that was ignored from time to time. The containment tent that was built around the servers when they were doing demolition above, Kevin stopped the progress when we found how much debris was in there. And they built a containment tent to mitigate the remaining demolition above. That tent got taken down at some point, and more problems have happened. Then they started doing demolition on the first floor where they took half the server room away. I'm going to call it the south side, the south half of the room was removed, and they needed to build another containment tent, and that thing was a joke from the jump. We stressed right away that that thing needed to be asbestos level containment, and it was just nothing but drop cloth, low adhesive masking tape, holes. You could throw your keys from one side of containment into the server area in multiple places. While they were building containment, they were actually sawing with the door open, so sawdust was pluming into the server room. When they finally did get the containment built, it was full of flaws. The air handling was done poorly. I mean, we've just had an absolute nightmare. Since the containment tent finally got built in ramshackle fashion to the condition where we could at least say it was somewhat functional, air filters haven't been getting changed. Spot checks haven't been made on it. The duct work, the main air handler, the air conditioner is outside the containment tent because of its location. And the ducts were sealed in that area with cardboard, the ram board that you see around the courthouse on the floors, and low adhesive masking tape. So every time the air conditioner kicked on, it would push air in and it would blow out that masking tape and those plastic or those cardboard pieces. Lucas is going to show a picture here. You can see there that that ram board, that cardboard blew out because low adhesive masking tape is by definition low adhesive. They started slapping on duct tape, which also is not the greatest. And that happened repeatedly. I think that breach sat there for a week after they were notified to get it sealed. And at that point, you're just blowing dirt and debris from the jackhammer area directly into the server containment area. Lucas is now going to show you a picture of the air filter. The color of the air filter should be the same color as the border. I don't believe that's been changed probably since March. There are multiple failures in the containment tent. The seal on the door was broken. The ram board over the vent on the front door was completely off. There's another breach that was sitting there for quite a while. We finally had to pull them aside and tell them to go get tin snips, a piece of sheet metal, custom cut it, screw it on, and tape it sealed with tape. At one point, a piece of plywood was slapped up there and still is there, which was just a concrete slop board. It's got concrete all over it. There's another picture, center of your top row, where the filter was crooked and just allowing debris again to get sucked directly into the return air duct and then plume directly into the server room. The zipper seal, I don't know if you've got the zipper seal, Lucas.
I don't. You took all those photos away.
If you go up to the photo level and go to, apparently you can't see it.
Something you don't have access to.
Apparently, I didn't know it
Right, it's
restricted
not
that.
mine.
That's my fault.
I think you made your point though.
There's a zipper seal that you walk through. It's
Seems like
completely
there's some
blown
issues in the
open.
server room then.
There's massive issues in the server room. We took and we've reached out and contacted a company that specializes in damaged IT equipment and restorations to construction, flood, things like that. And we've asked them to come in and provide an assessment. At this point, I have no confidence in the equipment in that room. One of our main law enforcement servers has a dead hard drive. The switch that controls all of it has a fan error. We've just got problems. And we have from the jump stressed how important this room is, and it has been neglected. I have no idea how much damage there is. The company is now evaluating with photos and some inspections that they started doing yesterday.
Well, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have to do better, and that has to have better attention. Please get us the report.
You got
Once
it.
this comes in. And, you know, the first thing I could think of is turning to my insurance company. Simple.
Okay.
Okay.
Just to add to that, election equipment, we used the mitigation that was done, sealed off the room. And basically the board coming from second up to third, when they were doing
Separation between the
floors was removed.
Window, there's a little like trim board. there.
So I noticed as I went in the room just to kind of check, I was just looking to see what they did with the shoring. And I thought, why is the plastic blowing towards me? And it was starting to come loose, which is never a good part of it.
Yeah,
But I went
it's
back in
not-
there.
It's not a permanent containment.
And there's
plastic.
dust blowing up from second floor. Luckily, we bagged all of the equipment that was the OVOs, the OVIs. We have 40 printers sitting in the room that are completely open. I can't send those back out to equipment failure during an election makes it above the fold on a newspaper, and it'll make it on a newspaper, not just here in the county. So I've got to have 40 new printers. The other thing that happened during the demo, the historic record books, the whole room there on Third, they started demo with those books there and a copier that was a functioning copier prior to us obviously having no electricity. It doesn't work anymore, but they just started demo work. No plastic, not covered, anything. We probably lost a $15,000 to $18,000 copier, and the books, Rodney said when we go to move them, he'll have people here to help us vacuum each one off individually.
Yeah, I think two approaches here. One is, first of all, unacceptable performance on that. Obviously, you're jackhammering the building and there's going to be dust everywhere. No matter how plastic is not the end-all solution. And the fact that, yes, the server room needed to stay here, really, as a company doing the restoration and the rebuilding, we can only do the best we can, but obviously that wasn't very good in the way it was done over the long course of this project. We should have built a separate enclosure and really kept this isolated in hindsight. A lot of things are trying to be done fast, and this building was soaking wet, and wet material needed to be coming out. So it's really easy to sit here and go look backwards and go, oh gosh, why didn't you just do all that back then? But
back then wasn't such a problem. My main problem is the fact that we've kept having the same problems reoccurring that could have been
and the room's changed
mitigated.
now. Absolutely, no excuse. It's
And my
unacceptable.
bigger problem is, and I've brought this up before, and I'm talking out of turn here a little bit, is that as a general contractor, I feel you guys have a responsibility to be walking this job site multiple times a day from top to bottom. I've found roof hatches open. I've found piss bottles. I've found breaches in the HVAC. I've found dust in things. The fact that I'm tripping over stuff just walking up to my office is insane. You guys should be out. Contractors shouldn't be catching me in the hallways talking about things. I shouldn't be finding problems. You guys should be walking the site first thing in the morning, last thing before you leave the property, and at least twice during the day, just keeping communications open and looking for problems before they become issues. And I don't understand how that doesn't happen.
I agree. It's something we need to give much more attention to and start to make sure it happens on a consistent basis. Can't argue with that. If I walked through here and found that, I would not be happy with it.
I don't think Rodney was happy when I said it on his desk.
Well,
I said, get to the point of your problem. Right.
yeah, and I wish I had known about this faster, and because I would have put a stop to it faster. Certainly, it's been a very, very, very strange year between the pandemic and the derecho event, and being able to just stay on projects and get them done with the level of damage that happened in Iowa was a challenge this last year. But no excuses. Get me the report, and there's going to be two approaches there. One is to get a restoration company or electronics restoration company out here to go through and see what can be restored to James' satisfaction and what needs to be replaced. And if something was damaged because of our negligence, then I would think that our insurance would pick that up.
And basically the directions we've given that company is that we are not experts in the damage that may have been occurred.
Who'd you bring out?
We brought out Invista, the same company that EMC brought in.
Okay, great.
We figured they did a great job on side one, why not have them do side two?
Yeah, I don't think the first company did, but right? Was
The
there
first guy
one
they
that
sent
did
did
It was
do
still Invista, it was just a different guy. And the first guy,
Just not as knowledgeable. The second guy was.
that stapler knows more about IT than the first guy.
Yeah, I know we had questions on the first guy, but.
But the directive we told them is, we're not experts in damage. I can tell you, I'm uncomfortable with the room. I don't trust what's in it in its current condition.
Mhm.
I said, if you come back and tell me it's fine, it needs a can of compressed air, great. You tell me it needs cleaning, we'll talk about the fact that we can't take it out of production, but we'll look at it.
Mhm.
If you tell me it's not trustable and we need something else, that's the course. I said, I want an independent opinion
Mhm.
as to its condition and reliability.
And the other part of that, James, will be if insurance already paid to replace that.
And I pointed that out to him too. I said, some of those assets are already marked for insurance and covered. I said, but we also were very aggressive on tornado night about getting that tarped
Mhm.
and saving some of the high dollar items if possible.
I remember in the beginning, it looked great. I mean, our
Yeah.
containment was good, our negative air was good, everything.
Did great, yeah,
Really
during
good.
dry out phase,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
that room.
Everything was really nice.
Everything
I think
was
with
done
all
well that
the
first 3
massive
weeks.
Demo,
Yeah,
Really was.
that's where it got.
and then the fact that just, again, things weren't caught
Mhm.
when they should have been.
Mhm.
Lucas and I finally crawled into the room because the bracing is in the way.
Mhm.
We crawled into the room on our hands and knees the last couple of days, and then we found that that primary seal was broken.
Mhm.
And Lucas could just see particulates flowing right through that open seal.
We're gonna have to relook at that room together.
Yeah.
And really come up with a plan for
You're
it.
gonna want to change your pants before we go in.
I was in there earlier.
Were you? Okay.
Yeah, we were in there, we walked in there, and I noticed that it was, it was a different room than what it was.
Yeah.
Not the actual server room, but the.
Oh, the out, okay.
Right,
Gotcha.
right. So, and then maybe we need to build an enclosure just for that and something much more substantial and figure that out together. We have to come up with a better plan for that room. There's gonna be a lot of sanding and a lot more construction going on, so
Yeah.
we definitely, going forward, we're doing the outside, it doesn't matter so much.
Yeah.
I think at this point, the direction needs to be that we need to do better for the short term and make a plan, a very good plan for when we have its new permanent home. And everything that is going to be cleaned or replaced needs to be cleaned or replaced directly before it goes into that room. Not clean and replace now and then
No,
2 months later go in.
Mhm.
It's, we're starting fresh, whether it's cleaned, replaced, blown out with a can of air, don't care. That's gonna be 0. And that's where we start from. And then basically we keep an eye on it and say, okay, we're doing a good job, or, oh, hey, we need to do better. So.
Yeah. And the books was kind of the same way when we moved the books into that stack room, clean them right before they go into their permanent home, seal that off best we can, knowing that people, my staff has to keep getting access to it. So the way the plastic is now, not the zipper, but the overlaid plastic really seems to work better.
Because they can work in that more freely.
Yeah, I mean, yes, do they get dirty? Absolutely, but it seems like it's kept the room more at a status quo.
Okay.
Um,
Sometimes a double helps.
It's like a triple thing you
is it?
walk
Okay,
through.
good, good. That's better.
I'm usually dusty, but by the time you get into the room, it's pretty good.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Lucas, have we covered all your areas?
I'm just looking through here. Oh, man, your equipment's there. and
Oh, the
meeting room on
fire.
third.
Yeah, so the meeting room on 3rd floor, so it's just it's right below us. They were doing some hot work down below. They did, had somebody there on fire watch. I don't know if it was before or after the fire. There's black going up the wall. I probably need Invista to come back
Not a problem.
and look at some of my election stuff. First, those printers. The printers, I'm not gonna give on them. I don't want them to fail. And they're not an expensive printer, but there's 40 of them.
Right,
There's a lot.
right.
But in that room, the $50,000 of election equipment that was on one cart, and it's basically what counts absentee ballots. It was 2 foot away from the fire. You know, so they're not, they didn't communicate well.
We were welding / maybe cutting a beam, and on the second floor, heat transfer moved to third floor, caught carpet on fire. So, hot work break down there.
Did smoke travel to the building at all?
There was no smoke.
It was pretty small, contained to that building, or that room, but, I mean, you can look at it, there's a spot on the carpet probably about that wide, right on the wall.
You could smell it a little bit a few days after, but it wasn't terrible, but it was a little alarming. And move the stuff out of the election equipment room, because we had a small election, move it over here, everything will be fine in here, we'll be good.
And then the fire.
And then the fire.
Well, from an insurance standpoint, from us filing a claim, the fact that there was an incident that occurred from one of our contractors here, of course, accidentally, you know, if that caused that damage, I don't think there'd be any question as far as coverage on our side. I'm not saying that's the only way we're going to take care of things is through coverage, but obviously if there's
Well,
a
but
mistake, that's the
it's a
first thing you do,
legitimate,
right?
yeah, it's a legitimate thing you can
know, We
do.
had things that, you know, accidentally occur. That's what insurance is for.
And I'm fine with it if it's on insurance or some other area, just so that it's not on us.
Absolutely.
Okay. James, you got anything to add?
I think we've covered the highlights. I'd like you to come down and take a look at it before you leave the property.
Okay.
No, we need that. Not only look at it, we need to come up with a plan.
Yeah.
That we're gonna
But a
execute.
visual will
Right.
help you.
Oh, yeah, let's go there together and we'll definitely do that when we're done.
I'd like to videotape you all crawling through, just
And if
throwing it out.
Covered your concerns and questions?
James goes first.
I think so, yes.
Okay,
I'm good.
you're good?
Is there anything else on
Steve?
this one?
Phil?
Yep, for now.
All
Okay,
right.
so
I
just
trust
to
you.
kind of wrap this up, what we've heard today is we want to work at, if we do need to go back to EMC on code issues, that we will have your assistance shoulder to shoulder with us, especially working with Nino and them, speeding up this approval process, because it's the fly in the ointment that's slowing us down. I really want to see us get going on improving our relations with our subcontractors and the payments, because that was the fly in the ointment that caused this domino effect that got us where we're at.
Yep.
And honestly, 2 weeks for that to be resolved is just plain unacceptable. I don't know all the reasons.
Yeah, there's some complexities there, because he was doing work in other jobs.
Yep.
As well, and clarity of the way they bill and how they broke it up by job had to happen too. So there were some other things
Yep.
involved there.
But we need to get that fixed.
Right.
Because we live with these people.
Oh,
Yep.
absolutely. Well,
We have to look them in the eye when we go to the grocery
But
store.
Absolutely. And we, you know, these are all extensions of us as well, so.
we want to really work hard at going to improve our workflow, getting back on our time frame, and in getting this project done and getting it back to a beehive of activity.
I agree.
You know,
We want that.
we want to see that parking lot full of contractors on a daily basis and rocking and rolling. You're not making any money without them doing anything. And I know we're a capitalistic society. We need to get that taken care of, but we need back in this building
Absolutely.
post haste.
Absolutely.
We do.
Yep.
It's been, I mean, at a year, everybody was really fed up with it, and now
We're approaching
33
3.
months later.
Yep.
It's hard. It's really hard. It's taxing on all our employees. You know, the attorneys had to go through another big move, and now they're packed in everywhere. I mean, I know it's probably a slight improvement over to what it was, but it's not home, and everybody's ready to be home. So anything we can do to advance that 18 weeks is going to be.
I really think the big complexity here was the additional masonry and steel work that has really put a big fly in the ointment here, and the misses.
But honestly, we're through a lot of that.
But that's what I was gonna say, we're through that now. The beam is in, now everything can come down and the building can start. It's not gonna be that, bad now that that is gonna be out of the way. So I think the biggest, hardest part of this, I don't know, Kevin, are you speaking out of turn?
No, you're right, because we're over the hump on the steel install. What's left, we've got to demo out a pretty large wall down in the attorney's main lobby.
Yeah,
Get those footings put in place, get that steel columns in, steel beam in place. Then we can go up and finish up the second floor. It'll just domino now, but I gotta bust this log jam.
Yep. And you'll see big movement because that framing goes up fast, and then we just got to get it
Yeah.
wired, we drywall. And, it should move pretty good.
yeah, I will tell you that when the
Have we-
jackhammer was going off below me and I couldn't hear on the phone, it made me happy. Was it the most pleasant when I was sitting there in my chair? It was literally vibrating. No, but it's progress, and that's what we want.
Yeah.
Have we covered all our issues on wiring, low voltage, regular stuff?
I think we have all that taken care of.
Okay. So we've covered the steel, we've covered Cheeto, we've covered the wiring, we've covered your election equipment, we've
James's
covered our
stuff.
service, HVAC,
Yeah.
we've covered that.
Remove that.
Have we missed anything that we wanted to get accomplished this morning?
I think I got everything on my list.
Okay.
Contract in place and a change order form.
Yeah, so
Okay.
get the contract to Lucas and I. We'll get it to everybody else.
We'll get it from OPM. They're the AIAs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir?
No, that's fine.
Does it sound like we're on the same page?
I think so.
Okay.
You
You also?
The contract, I thought we should have had in the very first thing. But we were given the feeling that you guys worked with the insurance company, and the insurance company was gonna do all the bidding and didn't want us to participate because they were gonna pay the bill.
Yeah.
That's what came down in some of our meetings, and so we're sitting here, not helping you. And I apologize about that, but there was a misunderstanding there, big time.
Yeah, and insurance, they don't dictate, they just wanted to see that, in some cases, we didn't pick the lowest bidder, as the
Sure,
contractor.
yeah, I agree.
We had a work authorization with you folks and the exterior work. There was some work that we did, for owner on the exterior as well. Now that we're getting into the interior, we're really into the meat of the owner responsibility. So yes, we would like the same thing of having a good contract in place on that. And now that we have solid numbers, we're able to actually put a dollar figure and say, as of this point, this is where we're at, and then put something next to it and have, of course, an understanding if more ASIs come in or, whatever isn't priced out yet, that's going to be open above. So with this, I would go to insurance and work hard to get that approved by them. Please realize they didn't choose the contractor. They just wanted to know that they were getting the best price. So with the AIA, you basically, we tried 2 or 3 estimates. In some cases, we didn't pick the lowest because they weren't in, the roofing. They weren't the lowest, I don't think, but they did the interior attic as well. So it made sense to use them, even though they were more. So we fought for that, and they approved that. So
Yep.
insurance isn't someone that dictated that to the extent of how do you run the job and what contractors you use, what subs you use and all that. They just wanted to make sure the pricing was in line and fair, and that they had the opportunity to approve the pricing. It's still your building, and you guys are our boss. They just pay the bill, so we have to validate everything through them. That explains it. Well, now derecho work was also another thing that hit.
I was
and
gonna say-
re-damage, and we didn't talk about that at all, but we did the roof twice now.
now,
Okay,
yes,
we didn't talk
and
about that.
we need billing for derecho.
Because you should have been paid for that.
We just got paid, we got the money, but I don't have a bill to pay you all.
I will get you a bill on it. We'd love to get some money on that.
I would
again,
assume you would.
As a good contractor, not for nothing, we've also extended and overextended ourselves in every way, financially and so forth, to keep the job moving. So we're not just one of these guys that's out here just to try to make as much as build this job up. That's not us. We want to get it done as quickly and efficiently and cost effectively as possible and make everybody happy and create a great experience. So that's our goal.
I credit you guys for saving this building. You know,
Thank you.
33 months ago. Oh, gee,
This is the sole.
I've been devastated. And you guys came in so quickly, the very beginning of this thing, and saved this building. So
Well, Steve, in my career of 41 years, this is one of the highlighted projects of my career.
that's nice to hear.
It is, and I say that with all sincerity.
Not just to build the people.
In the town.
Except for Lucas, it's been
I'm
really.
sure, I know.
Wait, and Dan, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but you guys are rock stars though at the beginning of this thing. I just have so much respect.
We'll get,
Thank you. We'll earn that status back here real quick here once we get approvals on all this stuff now.
What's
So
our
what do we need to do
expected
to get
time
approval
frame
on
to
the
get,
ASIs? Are we approved? Can we move forward? Are we okay? Go?
go on
Okay.
the website, get you the format.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll be frank.
I just want that documentation back in.
Let's look at those percentages again on the ASI. And then as soon as I get the other, I think there's 8 more that I'm pricing right now. As soon as I get those, I'll feed those to you and just add them on the list. So, all right.
Keep including me in those as well, so I can play with the spreadsheets too.
Yeah. I need to talk to you because my numbers, I'm low by 10,000 on my code and I'm high by a few thousand on my, so somewhere I've got a problem.
Okay,
So I gotta figure that part out. Yeah.
Is it divisible by 9?
that means you've transposed a number. Very good, Lucas.
I've heard it way too many times.
That's an accounting thing.
She's ever off, she divides it by 9. Okay, I remember the numbers real close, and it works.
Wow.
Now you've learned something, go
I
ahead.
have.
okay, before we wrap this up, we got a game plan where we're going. Are we okay on everything on IT? Okay.
Got a plan.
And I
And
don't know that,
elections and auditing
yes, I think
and
we're,
buildings and grounds?
Yes, everything on.
Nothing more from
I
us?
think we're good.
I don't know that there's any
I've got a lot of notes.
action today.
Okay,
I don't, yeah, Dave, no action today, really, because, but I'm hoping we have a contract. We can do a special board meeting
Yes.
to get a contract signed if you're okay
the
with,
second we get that contract, we need to have another special session and go from there, but I don't think we have anything to be able to vote on
no.
as of this
Our
moment.
next regularly scheduled is the 25th. We just had one Tuesday. We do every other Tuesday. It's a Tuesday. But like I said, we just need to post it 24 hours before to throw this on and we can do that. And if these guys are gone, technology's great. They can
Yep.
jump on Zoom and attend that way. So we've had a good thing come out of COVID from that, at least.
You know,
That's it.
that's the only thing that's come out good from
Uh-huh.
COVID is that we can work remotely and be
Much
more
easier.
involved. So, and I'll participate by Zoom when I'm not here a lot more,
Mhm.
just to make sure we're on it. And if you have any issues of concern, from containment, the duct, the cleanup, to progress, we need to know about it. You know, please let us know so we can address it and fix it. Our intention is always to exceed expectations and do a great job. So whatever we can do to do that, it's a very large project. And if there's something we're missing, we need the help of everybody to, you know, we're one team here. We're all working together towards the same thing and finishing your building. They're part of you guys now. And, you know, we care about you and we really don't want to let you down. So in any way, shape or form. And some of these things are unacceptable, and we're gonna address them very seriously and take them very seriously, because some of the things are simple housekeeping things that absolutely should have occurred, and that will be addressed.
Okay.
Internally. Big- so, okay.
That being said, if there's nothing else, we will go on to item 7 in our agenda, which is public forum. This is a time set aside for the public to make comments on topics of county business. Other than those listed on this agenda, no action will be taken on any of these topics brought up in public forum. Any public comments?
We are just down to one person
And I haven't a clue who that number is.
and no clue, and it's still on mute. So I'm thinking
We're good to
I'm
go.
thinking we're good to go.
Okay.
We've given them the opportunity.
Nothing here then for public forum? All righty. We'll move on to item 8 in our meeting this morning, which is an adjournment. The next regular session is May 25th, 2021 at 9:05 a.m. All business to be acted upon at that session should be submitted to the county auditor and recorder's office or the Board of Supervisors office by Wednesday, May 19th, 2021 at 12 p.m. There being no further business to come before the board, this meeting is adjourned at 10:45 a.m.
The only thing about having public meetings is we have to post it